Hey everyone, welcome back to Ganai's F1 News. What an absolutely wild Dutch Grand Prix we just witnessed at Zandvoort. According to motorsport.com's race report, defending champion Lando Norris absolutely delivered when it mattered most, taking the victory from pole position with a commanding performance that saw him cross the line over 11 seconds ahead of his nearest rival. But here's where things got really dramatic. Max Verstappen, racing in front of his home crowd, suffered a massive crash on the very first lap. The Red Bull driver, who'd been dealing with feeling unwell all weekend and started from 7th, found himself in a four-wide battle heading into Turn 1. He got squeezed onto the grass and then made an uncharacteristic mistake trying to recover on the slippery surface at the banked Liendick corner. The impact was huge, the car was destroyed, and it triggered an immediate red flag. It's the kind of mistake Verstappen just doesn't normally make. But that's how unpredictable this championship has become. According to Autosport's detailed analysis, what happened was this. The circuit had received rain just before the grid procedure, making conditions incredibly tricky. When the race got underway, Verstappen, already dealing with not feeling his best physically, made his first proper mistake of the weekend. He actually admitted it was entirely his own fault. He thought he could get back on the throttle at that final corner, but that part of the track was still slippery. The mistake cost him big time. What really caused a stir afterwards, though, was the FIA's decision to run a safety car formation lap after the restart. Several drivers questioned whether that even made sense given the circumstances, saying it just confused matters further. The FIA later explained their reasoning, but this became one of those contentious moments that had drivers venting on the radio and talking to stewards afterwards. It's another example of how this chaotic race at Zandvoort tested everyone's patience. Now let's talk about what's happening in the championship fight, because this is where things get really interesting. According to motorsport.com, championship leader Kimi Antonelli finished second but dropped a bombshell afterwards. He essentially admitted that Mercedes, his own team, no longer has the fastest car on the grid. In fact, he reckoned Mercedes might only be the third best car right now, behind McLaren and possibly Ferrari. This is huge because it means the pressure is building on everyone at Brackley. Antonelli did secure a podium, which helps, but the fact that he's admitting they're not the quickest is telling. It shows the competitive balance has shifted dramatically. McLaren's upgrades are clearly working, and Ferrari is also proving competitive. So here we are in the championship with the leader driving a car he doesn't believe is the best. That's a mental battle Antonelli's going to have to fight through. Things got even messier for Mercedes when you look at what happened with George Russell. As reported by motorsport.com, late in the race, Russell was running fourth, Antonelli was second, and McLaren's Norris was in the lead. When a late virtual safety car came out, Mercedes made the call to pit Antonelli for fresh soft tires while keeping Russell out. Then, as the race progressed, they implemented a team order that saw Russell give up position back to Antonelli. Russell accepted the decision as the right call for the team, and the championship points math actually worked out fine, but the narrative isn't great for him. Former F1 driver Jolyon Palmer, who's now an F1 TV analyst, pointed out that Russell is quote-unquote still not there compared to his teammate. That's not what Russell wants to hear after already having a difficult start to his 2026 season. The pressure is mounting on the Briton, and Zandvoort highlighted some of those struggles. This could become a bigger issue if it continues. Here's something really fascinating. According to both motorsport.com and Autosport, the 2026 championship has reached a weird point where literally nobody is willing to admit they have the best car. Norris just won the race. He's the defending world champion. You'd think he'd be confident about his machinery, right? Wrong. After the race, he stated pretty clearly that he doesn't believe he has a car capable of fighting for the championship. Fourth in the points with 159 of them, sitting about 34 points back from the lead, Norris is essentially saying his current package isn't championship-winning material. Think about that for a second. The guy who just won is saying he can't fight for the title with what he's got. Meanwhile, Antonelli, who's leading, says Mercedes isn't the best. And McLaren keeps upgrading because they don't think they're good enough. It's a bizarre situation where everyone's pushing hard, everyone's developing rapidly, and everyone thinks someone else has the advantage. This kind of uncertainty actually makes for incredible racing, but it also means nobody can be confident heading into the final stretch of the season. Speaking of drama, Lewis Hamilton had quite the day at Zandvoort. According to Autosport, the Ferrari driver got frustrated with his team during the race over a lack of team order coordination. Hamilton found himself battling his teammate Charles Leclerc mid-race, and he actually overtook Charles at one point, but the team didn't really manage the situation the way Hamilton thought they should have. Over the radio, he expressed his frustration, actually telling Ferrari they needed to be more like Mercedes in terms of efficiency with team orders. Hamilton finished fourth, so it wasn't a disaster, but the fact that he was venting over the radio tells you there's some tension there. It's interesting because Lewis is still adapting to Ferrari, and little moments like this show there's still some friction between how he wants things run versus how the Scuderia operates. It's something worth watching as the season continues. The stewards at Zandvoort had a busy day handing out penalties. According to motorsport.com, Franco Colapinto, racing for Alpine, copped a penalty for an infringement under yellow flags right at the start of the race. He was in the process of overtaking Yuki Tsunoda when Verstappen crashed ahead. Yellow flags came out, but Colapinto pressed on. The stewards weren't happy about it, and Colapinto and his team were vocal in their criticism afterwards. Then there was Carlos Sainz, who got a 10-second penalty for contact with Alex Albon. Sainz locked up his front tires at turn 1 while defending, went straight off, and that was that. Sainz acknowledged it was his mistake, just the unfortunate worst outcome of a defensive move that didn't work out. But here's the positive. According to motorsport.com, Liam Lawson had exactly the kind of race Red Bull was hoping for in his third appearance in the car. Solid qualifying, no major mistakes, strong pace, and crucially, he scored points. After months away, this was his chance to prove he deserved that seat, and he delivered. So where does this leave us in the championship battle? According to motorsport.com's standings report, Kimi Antonelli maintains his lead despite the disappointment of not winning. George Russell has actually retaken second place in the standings from Lewis Hamilton thanks to the points distribution. But the real story is McLaren's resurgence. Lando Norris, by winning today, is very much back in the hunt. When you look at the bigger picture, what Nico Rosberg said on Sky Sports, Mercedes should be worried about McLaren's development rate and raw speed. The Orange squad is clearly making gains with their upgrades, and Norris proved he can still deliver when it counts, especially at a track where his championship dreams died last year. The championship is far from settled, and honestly, that's what makes this season so compelling. You've got Antonelli at the front, but he knows his car might not be the quickest. You've got Norris climbing back in, and you've got Russell trying to prove he belongs at the top. Plus, there's Ferrari with Hamilton, who's still hunting for wins. It's wide open.